Join me today as I talk about building a modular house, and stay to the end to see if I would build another modular house or not. Hi everyone, Joe here. Thanks for stopping by. So you're interested or you're thinking about building a modular house. So you want to know some of the pros and cons that I've experienced in our house, which is a modular house. Okay, so first off, we had our modular house built a while ago. It was in 1997 actually, but the process of the building of the modular house hasn't changed much, and I wish I would have had this opportunity before we had our house built to listen to a video or get information from someone who had experienced the building and the process of a modular house. So let's talk about some of the pros and cons. I'm not going to separate them as per se, I'm just going to go through them as I can remember them. Okay, so our house is a little over 4,700 square feet, and it came in 7 pieces, and they were delivered to the site by way of 7 wide load tractor trailers that traveled 2 hours from Pennsylvania to get here in northern New Jersey. And so you can imagine what a spectacle it was when the house arrived here. But before we get to there, I want to talk a little bit about the before the house got here, so you are aware of some of the trials and tribulations that we went through. Okay, so we had been researching having our house stick built. That means the traditional way, or having a modular house built. And the kind of house we wanted was less costly, we thought, if we went by way of modular. So what happened was we found a modular company in northern New Jersey, up in the, if you're from New Jersey, this area, up in the Sparta area, which is northwest New Jersey. And there was a lot of modular houses being built there. So we toured a few, and we liked a few of them, and we had our own ideas. So we contacted the modular house company, and we went to speak to them. So actually now what it was is they're kind of like the middleman, because here's the people that want to buy the modular house. Here's the people that are arranging the process of what you want in your modular house, and then there's the actual builder of the modular house. So we were dealing with this middle person right now. So what happened is we went there and we kind of explained what kind of house we wanted. We wanted a central hall colonial, and we gave them all of the ideas and everything else, and we got the initial price on it, and we thought, hey, that's pretty good based on what we knew the house was going to cost if we had it stick built. So we started to go ahead with the house, and we began signing the contracts, for the house to be built. Once that happened, we found out a lot of the particulars, and I guess it was our fault. We should have did more research before, but we found out a lot of the particulars that were not included with the building of the modular house itself. We were informed that we needed to find a general contractor separate from the building of the house. So that's something we didn't know about. And not only we couldn't find any old general contractor, we had to find one that had experience in building and putting together the modular house, because you don't want someone who doesn't know how to put it together, because the house, is dangerous to fall apart. So we had to interview several general contractors, and that was a tough deal, because we found a lot of obnoxious contractors, and their prices were through the roof, absolutely ridiculous. So we finally found one that we were semi-satisfied with, and we had to go with them. So that was one extra cost that we did not know originally. Next is The foundation of the house is not included in the price of the modular house. So you need to now have the surveyor come out, which is another cost. You need the plans to be made for your foundation, which is another cost. And you need your foundation to be installed, which is another additional cost, separate from the cost of the modular house. Okay, so far, in addition to the modular house, we had the surveyor. I mean, you have to do that anyway, but I'm letting you know, the surveyor, which is no small fee, that's a pretty hefty fee, the general contractor, crazy fee, and the foundation, which was a lot. That was a lot of money as well. As the process went on, as the house was being built in Pennsylvania, and it was getting closer to the date of delivery, we then found out that we were responsible for hiring a crane company. Yeah, a big crane, because the pieces of the house have to be lifted off of the wide load tractors and placed onto the foundation and on top of each other. So our house is 7 pieces. So it was one here, a middle piece, and then this piece. And then one on top, one in the middle, one over here, and then one down here. Okay, so that was 7 pieces. The crane, the cost of the crane is absolutely crazy, because they charge you by the hour, and it is an exorbitant fee. So you want the process to happen as fast as possible. So what happened was, I can't remember the day, but say like the house was going to be put together on Wednesday. The house arrived on Tuesday, the day before. Where do you put a house that's in 7 pieces, right? So we had to go to the town hall, arrange with the police department when they knew that these giant trucks were going to be coming into the town with a house on them. And then we had to arrange with the town to allow the house to stay at the elementary school parking lot. And then I had to sit there all night because all the nosy people were surrounding it and starting to rip the wrap on the house because they wanted to look into the house. So again, there's something that we didn't think about either. Okay, so that was a big deal. And then the morning of the installation, that the trucks had to come through from the elementary school over to the site, and then the crane had to be ready to move it, because we wanted it to be done. We wanted the house together in one shot. We did not want to have to make the crane stay overnight and have it the next day. That would have been ridiculously expensive. The next thing that was not included in the price that we didn't know was the roof, okay? Because the modular, they're in boxes, right? So there's no roof on there. So we had to hire a crew that usually worked on modular houses, and they were from Pennsylvania, and they had to come here to put the roof on. And there was like 6 of them, and we had to put them up in a hotel for 3 days that it took to put the roof on. So that was another cost that we did not expect. Okay, so as you can see, the costs are definitely piling up now. So here comes the really crazy part. As this process was going on, the Middleman, that company that we ordered from, they went bankrupt. And they did not want to give us things that we had agreed upon in the contract. For example, we had purchased all our appliances through them, and they did not want to give us the appliances. We had purchased all the flooring through them, and they did not want to give us the flooring any longer. We had purchased the garage door and the front door through them, and they did not want to give us those either. So we had a tremendous argument with them, and we later found out that we were not the only ones in that boat. There were a few of us that were having houses built that were all in the same category. And what happened was someone got a lawyer, and we were all involved in a litigation against them. You know what we wound up with? Nothing, right? Even though we won, you wind up with nothing. So in the meantime, we couldn't sit there and say, okay, well, we'll just wait to see when this is going to end, and we won't have a front door or a garage door or any appliances or any, you don't do that. So we had to go out and we had to buy a front door, buy a garage door, buy flooring, we had to do all of that. The only flooring that came with the house was some of the carpeting that was, I guess they must have had it left over in the warehouse, and they installed the carpet. But the flooring in the foyer, the flooring in the bathrooms and stuff like that wasn't there. So again, another problem. That's not something that everyone would experience, but you never know when you're dealing with these companies, especially nowadays, what you're going to get and what you're not going to get. You really have to make sure that in your contract it is ironclad, that they are going to give you what you're expecting to get from them.
Okay, so here's the house from the outside. It's pieces 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 on the top. Of course, the brick in the middle was extra, but you knew that.
Okay, so what are some attractive features of a modular house? Well, the attractive feature, and the one that they really hype up, is that the house is going to be built in a warehouse, and it's going to be built, to the top standards, and it's not going to be exposed to any weather, that is all important features. But then you have to realize that there could be a problem as your house is traveling from wherever that warehouse is to wherever the site of installation is, because roads are not, great, and you never know what could happen along the road, which is your responsibility. So I'm gonna put that in one of the pros, that the house is built airtight. The other thing that seems attractive to some people is that the house comes, and when they put it together, it looks like it's done, right? I mean, the walls have primer on them, all the woodwork is in, the windows are in, the flooring is supposed to be in, the kitchen is installed, the bathrooms are installed, the toilet bowl is there, the showers are there, everything is there. And it looks like the house is done. It's like, voila, it's done, I can move in. But that's not the case, because think about it. All of that stuff has to be hooked up to the main lines. For example, all the plumbing is in the house, but the plumbing is not hooked up to, the town sewer lines and the water lines. That has to be done. You have to pay for that. That's plumbing. Plus, all the electrical is done, right? But it's not hooked up to anything. Like, you have to hook it up to your air conditioning units, and you have to hook it up to your furnace, which are separate costs that you have to get to. You have to get your, all of that stuff, and then you have to get the electrician through your contractor in order to hook all of that up. So it's a pro, but has a big negative on it as well. Why is it negative? Because you can't see what's going on back here in the walls. You don't know exactly what's going on. They have the blueprint, they have the plan, and they see where the wires are, and the wires are labeled, but even then, mistakes happen. For example, with us, this house was supposed to have 5 zones for heating and air conditioning. We have 4. The electrician never found the 5th one. He couldn't find it. It was supposed to be on one side of the house, with the bathrooms and the bedrooms on that one side of the house. He could never find the wires for that 5th zone. So 30 years later, we still don't have that 5th zone. It's gone. The house went together in the fall, and when spring came, I went to turn the air conditioning on, and we had no air conditioning unit, because the electrician thought he hooked up the right wires, but he never did. So we had to get another electrician and another air conditioning guy to run wires in order to have our air conditioning. And still to this day, and we have a wonderful contractor now, he does a lot of work for us. We have 2 light switches that turn nothing on. We can never find where they go. There's a wire leaves, but who knows where it goes? Who knows where it's supposed to go? I tried to follow it on the blueprint. He tried to follow it on the blueprint. Can't find it. One in the dining room and there's one in the laundry room. We have no idea where it goes. So those are things that happen when you have a house built somewhere else and then it arrives someplace else. Another big thing is, once the house is built, it's built. Meaning that you can't make any changes. Like, when you have a stick-built house, you can go in there and say, oh, I think this room looks a little bit too small. Before we put the drywall in, before the electrical, before the plumbing, let's move this wall over here. Let's make another wall over here. Let's take this wall down over here. You can do all that. You can't do that in a modular house. It is what it is. It gets here. You have to plan it on the plans. So you have to have a good insight of what you think it's going to look like, because bam, when it's here, and then you can't be moving walls anymore. Hold on. All right, so this is a positive, I think, and I wanted to share it with you. See this wall? See how wide this wall is? Look at my hand and look here. This is about, I want to say almost, that's more than a foot wide, because this is the end of one of the boxes here, and this is the end of this box over here. So when they come together, it forms a thick wall. So the house is way more soundproof than a regular stick-built house. So take a look at here. We had this tray ceiling put in. We didn't have this originally. We had this put in. Our contractor did this recently. But you see that? That is the thickness of the ceiling. And there is the same thickness above that for the floor upstairs. So you're talking about almost 2 feet from the upstairs to the downstairs. So you don't hear people walking around upstairs. So if you have, kids and their bedrooms are upstairs and you're downstairs, you're not going to hear them running around. That is another one of the positives of a modular house. Okay, so to get an understanding of the boxes, I am standing at the front door and you're looking down through the middle of the house right here. This was one box. It runs from this wall right here to where I'm standing, and then it goes all the way down there to those windows and then across, and it comes up in here. And this is one box right here. Then this was another box right here. You can't see through the wall, but it goes here, and then through there is 2 more rooms as it goes down that way, and a bathroom. And then over here, so that's 2 boxes, and then over here, excuse all the Easter stuff, it's Easter time, I don't know when you're going to be watching this, but here is a box right here, and it goes all the way down through the kitchen. So there are 3 boxes down here, and then 3 boxes upstairs. So up there's a box, and then the box, see, this piece was open, so the box continued in the back over there, and then here is the 6th box over there. And then the garage and the laundry room was the 7th box, and then there's a bonus room on top of it. So as the years went on, we've made changes that we could change. We, changed the kitchen. We made the opening a little bit wider from one room into another. Let me show you because I know it's confusing. So, of course, little things are extra too. We had, we wanted that bump out over there by the kitchen. So, of course, that's extra. As time went on, though, we opened this opening right here much wider than it was, so that we had more of an open concept living from the kitchen into the family room. As well as over here, we had this arch put in because of the arched windows and the big palladium window in the front. We wanted that theme to carry through. This used to be closed over here, and we just had a doorway right in here. And actually, when my parents were alive and they would come to visit us,
we had like a little living room for them over there, and then their bedroom and so on. But now what we've done is we've made that the library part of our family room, and we have more living space there. We were also affected by Superstorm Sandy, and we had almost 3 feet of water in the house here. So we had this after that, when we had to have the whole downstairs, re-drywalled and everything. This we had opened up. This used to be like a doorway right here. It was small, and it was all wasted space. And when one day when all of this was opened and everything, I said to the contractor, "Hey, can we like push this?" It was a closet out here. So I said, "Can we push the closet back there so that I can use under the steps as a closet, and again make a more architecturally interesting piece?" So what happens also is that you get unexpected spaces because you can't. Sometimes they just don't translate if you're not an architect on the blueprints to people. For example, right down there, see that's the powder room over there, and it's a powder room. But if we would have known the size of it before before it came done, I think we would have made it a little bit larger. And then up here at the top of the stairs, you can see this area is way bigger than we thought it was going to be. And, this was, we didn't realize we were going to have this like little balcony area either. So, it varies. So again, right here, you can see where this ends. This was one of the boxes, and then this middle piece is a box, and then we have the box over there.
So each one of the boxes is 14 feet wide by 50 feet long, and that was the max you can get. That was the biggest size that the wide load tractors could take, because remember, they have to fit down roads and under bridges and everything like that. So each one of our boxes is 14 feet by 50 feet long. So like I said, we maxed out completely. Another plus that we didn't realize was going to happen was when they put the roof on the house, we wound up with a gigantic attic. And not only is it gigantic, it is gigantically high. The ceiling in the attic is, I want to say, almost 14 feet. So a very big unexpected surprise that we found with that. So I know you are thinking, if we had to build another house, would we do a modular house? And the answer to that is no. We would not have another modular house built, for the simple reason that there's too much of the unexpected involved, too much that you don't get to see in person, too much that is hidden behind the walls that you've never seen before. So is it a faster process? It can be, but remember, there are a lot of hidden costs in the process of building a modular house. So if you're planning to do that, and I know times have changed, but the more things change, the more they stay exactly the same. Ask every single question before you sign any question. Find out about the contractor, about your foundation, about the roof, about the utensils, about your flooring, about your doorways, about everything. Anything that you can think of, you need to make a list, and you need to ask them before you actually sign anything, because once you do that, it's done. They'll do anything for you before you sign. Once you sign, they don't want to do anything. So always keep that in mind, and I hope this is helpful to those of you that are planning to build a house. Good luck. It's exciting. I love having houses built, but it's a lot of stress, a lot of fighting between you and the wife, and a lot of money. So be careful, take care in what you do, and good luck. And thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye.